Breakfast Express on MITV Plus. Well, it's time for us to have a discussion segment. Our first discussion will be handled by Kweyemi.
Yes, it's a tough one here. And before I even take the story, I remember you were talking about the fact that we need collaboration with members of communities to end insecurity. I think that was something you emphasized last week on the show. So, 25-year-old woman intercepted with 220 rounds of ammunition by the operatives of the Department of State Services, DSS. They've arrested a 25-year-old woman, Nafisat Usman, in possession of 220 rounds of ammunition concealed in Gari in Kano. Nafisa, a native of Zango village in Kankara local government area of Katsina State, was intercepted at a motor park while taking delivery of the ammunition, a security source disclosed. The alleged criminal suspects who apprehended along bags of Gary and locals where she concealed the ammunition and some naira notes after an intelligence. Nafisa, who spoke with journalists at the State Command of the Department of State Service, confessed to have received the supply of ammunition through a military officer from Lafia in Nasarawa State. Okay, tension had also erupted in Jos, just hours after the Plateau State government eased the 48-hour curfew imposed following the deadly Sunday night attack at Angwan Rukuba. Reports indicate that sporadic violence broke out in part of the city with unconfirmed claims of fresh casualties. The situation has triggered panic amongst residents, forcing traders who had earlier resumed business activities to abandon their shops and flee to safety. Eyewitnesses described the scenes of confusion as people fled for cover amid fear of renewed attacks. Security presence is said to be increasing in affected areas, although authorities have yet to confirm the latest developments. Two stories linking into each other, and it's obviously because they have a common denominator, which is insecurity. 25-year-old, 220 rounds of ammunition stuck in Gari. We've seen this before. We've seen where, pump actions were packed in sacks or bins. We've seen where containers were brought into the country, and then at the top of the containers are used cars, but underneath are weapons concealed in the part of the cars. And this part of the reason why we're still having problems like this. If someone can conceal 220 rounds of ammunition, it's quite big. It's quite a volume, by the way. But the catchy part of that story is that she confessed that it was supplied to her by a military officer in Lafia. Conspirators, sympathizers, where do we place this, Tom?
You see me do this? I'm covering my face in shame. I'm covering my face in shame for the woman who did this. Women are supposed to be channels through which a nation, the world, multiplies and grows. And then in your right frame of mind, you want to start to ensure that you deplete
the population
you're supposed to multiply. They don't work together. And so sometimes I want to wonder how some people are wired, what they're thinking. And when you go to the bottom, it's money. Money is the bottom line.
Nothing else.
People are ready to do anything for money. They don't care what it is. As long as it's going to fetch them some money, that is the level we have found ourselves in Nigeria. And it's very unfortunate. Because while that woman did that, you will find another woman in the rural areas, a local illiterate, who would say, I can't do that. I have a family name to protect. Nobody knows that family name, except in that village, in that locality. But within that locality, she's not ready to embarrass her family. So how do we start to discuss this? And these are the things we see on a regular basis happening in Nigeria. Women at some point used to be the ones who were more, fickle-minded, for want of a better word. But these days, they are even bolder than the men. The kind of things that women do embarrass me. Honestly, sometimes I don't want to even be a woman when I hear this kind of things, the kind of things women do for money. When you hear young girls say things like, yeah, I can't marry a man that doesn't have money. That's where it starts. Why? Because their parents are dependent on them. When we were growing up, if you went to school and came back with an eraser that was not yours,
You explain.
oh my God. You needed to explain, not just that, you will be beaten black and blue, and then you will be taken back to school. And that eraser will be handed back to the owner of the eraser. That's the way it used to operate in our days. But I don't understand what's going on now. Parents are dependent on their children who they have not trained, who have not gotten good jobs. You expect them, where do you expect them to get the money? So they're looking for big men, rich men. You hear girls calling men and say, send me recharge card. Send me. Women have lost the respect that once used to exist. And when you hear this kind of things, you become so embarrassed. Everything they're so dependent on men. If they're not depending on men, then they go to things like this. Why would a woman in her right frame of mind accept to carry ammunitions for whatever reason? I can't explain it. I don't even know where to start to discuss it. But you see, one thing is certain, that our nation is on the fall in terms of morals. It's on the fall in terms of morals, in terms of values. We don't have those values anymore. So what did she think that those ammunitions were going to do? To give people life? Are they tablets? Do you understand? Are they medicines? Are they sources of power or strength?
Are they spies?
Are they spices for soup? You understand? What did she think she was doing? And then now she comes and she confesses. Listen to me, my dear brother, you know what's going to happen? We won't hear about this case anymore. So when we bring these kind of things to the fore and we discuss them on the table, we expect to be able to give you, who's watching, an update. Oh, remember the woman we spoke about 2 weeks ago?
She has been sentenced.
And then in another 3 weeks, we come and say, oh, that woman that was sentenced has been... We intend to come and give an update, but where there is none, we cannot give you what we don't have. And that's the problem. Because this kind of woman should be made a scapegoat by my own assessment. And this is my opinion.
There have always been talks around sympathizers, even members of communities serving as informants to bandits, also housing bandits.
Yes.
I was talking to a senior police friend of mine. It was transferred to Lagos. So he was at my place before he resumed. I was talking and he was like, that why do I think these bandits always love to have, when they come for abduction, they carry a lot of people, that they use those people as human shields, so that when the security wants to come and attack, they'll see that, oh, there are civilians there, and it will hold them back. But he also told me that there are villages where the villagers know these bandits. And we've seen videos everywhere where bandits are coming in for peace deals. They are not covering their faces. People are snapping pictures with them. They are celebrating them like they are heroes, And so it tells you the mindset of, it's easier for us to attribute some of these things to, oh, there's poverty in the land, there's this, there's that. It is not poverty that told you to carry
It ammunition. Is certainly not. That's why I gave you the example of the woman in the village that will say she's not going to do that.
Like you said, there were times where, certain things could not even be attributed to a woman.
At all.
Where have you seen that before? Now, she can't tell me she didn't know what she was carrying.
They want to do all the things that they cannot afford to do.
Because-
they want to buy human hair of 500, 100,000
because
naira. They can't work for
she
it.
took the delivery of
Come
the
on.
ammunition probably as an intermediary, as a middleman, to send it to the bandits. We've seen these stories. So when you wonder, how do these guys get motorbikes? How do they get information? Some of them that have bullet wounds, how do they get treated? How do they have access to these things? There's just a whole lot of things, and that's why it's looking more difficult. Because if the government is looking at this, ways of ending it, there's another pattern that the bandits are coming through. We thought we were done with the issues of suicide bombings until it happened again in Maiduguri 2 weeks ago. We thought we've won the battle against Boko Haram, that now we are dealing with banditry and insurgency. Now we're still dealing with Boko Haram. We thought we were done with banditry, insurgency. Now we have cattle rustlers, we have herdsmen, we have armed robbers. So
We have kidnappers.
exactly. So when you see these kind of stories, and then there's that last line that the deliveries were given to her by a
By-
military man in Lafia. So this is where it gets very interesting. The military man, have they gotten the name of the person? In what capacity was he supplying her? How long has he been doing it? To what end? Is it that they've not noticed that ammunitions are missing, where those are coming from? Is he supplying it for this guy just for being sympathetic towards their cause, or is selling for them in return for money? How highly placed is this officer, this military officer? Has he been arrested? There's a lot of conspiracies that you probably think that we need to unbundle. And until we unbundle these things, there was a time a first lady in this country told us that there are sympathizers of terrorists in the cabinet of her husband. I'm sure you've at different times often spoken to soldiers at the war front saying that there are people sabotaging our efforts. We want to go and attack a bandit camp by 6 a.m. and by 4 a.m. they've attacked us.
Exactly.
We are going through this route. They've laid ambush for us. They'll kill all of us. Because there are people that are either sympathetic towards the cause of these people, or they are having financial gains by giving out this information. There are communities where these bandits are resident. The members of those communities will not call the security agencies to say, listen, we are noticing some strange movement in these communities. We have seen certain boys that are exhibiting an unusual level of wealth that we are suspecting. Yoruba will say that Omo Shalagbafo on Kashowale. Your child is not working and is living in luxury.
And they also say, "Enti o ba bowo sun, ko le bowo ji."
Oleboji. So it's a clear case. For instance, you are a cattle rearer, for instance, and most times those cattle you see with them, they are not the owners. They are owned by the big men. Maybe they just have only one calf out of the whole thing. And then you do all of that the whole year. You probably don't even have up to 10,000 naira with you as your own money. Then somebody calls you, like, say, come, let me recruit you as a foot soldier. Go and hijack a bus. Bring me 20 people. And on each person you bring, I'll give you 20,000.
Yep.
So someone that had to walk from Niger to Lagos and saw only 10,000. And then the person just wakes up and see 500,000 with one motorcycle. You think he will go back to?
Of course not, he won't go back.
Which country is he going back to? That is why that is the most thriving business in Nigeria today. You see these small boys pack loads of money somewhere, making TikTok videos, flashing, even calling the bluff of the government. Oh, we have collected ransom, 50 million. Come and catch us if you can.
Can you imagine?
These guys that have been declared wanted by the defense headquarters, they are openly going to negotiate peace deals in communities. To the fact that government representatives are even attending those communities, those meetings with them.
They know nothing will happen.
Because they know that nothing will happen.
And it's a matter of settlement, worst case.
You see them, having weapons all over them, coming to meetings with grenades, with launchers, and you're asking yourself, is it that these people are untouchable?
But Okwemi, do you really believe that if we wanted to quell this thing, wanted to, level them completely, you think Listen to me, Nigerian police, Nigerian army are one of the best in the world.
Yes, we know.
They're one of the best in the world. Look, when we are ready,
it will end.
It will end.
When we're ready.
When we're ready to end. That time will come when it will end. You know? But we're now looking for that Moses
that will
take us to the promised land. Now the question is our president that Moses? Our current president, is he that Moses? Is he going to do that thing that people said was impossible? Is he going to do that for us? He said he came with change. He said he was coming with change. And people said, okay, let's give him a chance to see this change that he is going to bring. Perhaps as we speak, he will be that Moses that will bring that change, that will make the impossible possible. Perhaps it's still in the agenda. He has less than a year for his first tenure. Anything can happen, perhaps. But one thing is certain. This thing will end when that Moses comes. Is the Moses on ground? Has he not come? We don't know. But it will be a nice thing if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu could be that Moses.
You know, when people talk of political willpower, I feel offended. Because the biggest document guiding everyone in this country, apart from whatever you hold on to from your religious faith, maybe your Bible or your Quran, is the Nigerian Constitution.
Of course.
And the Nigerian Constitution empowers you as the Grand Commander
of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yeah.
My friend would always say the seen and the unseen forces.
True.
You're not just there, you're not just carrying that GCFR because it's a title that comes with your office. No, it's a title that comes with responsibility.
Yep.
Grand Commander of the Federal Republic.
Yeah.
The entire armed forces are in your control. So when we are asking for a problem that had festered for almost 20 years, do you know how this whole thing started? Mohammed was arrested somewhere. So that same officer I was making reference to, I'm sure he's probably watching right now. He told me that in Maiduguri those times, in the early days of Mohammed, the slain leader of Boko Haram, that when he's teaching, that there are more than 400,000 to 500,000 people listening to his teaching. And I asked, what was Alimodu Sheriff, the then governor of Borno State, doing when someone is radicalizing the people in your state, that he has like a whole village to himself, where he will gather people in their thousands and speak to them, you know? And then the set kept growing. Then out of nowhere, there are splinter groups, people that were not comfortable in what he was doing. They were also living and setting up their own. And what looks like a child's play, it has snowballed into something that had so many branches. From Boko Haram, say no to Western education. That used to be when this whole thing started. But in between that period, we've had herdsmen, we've had kidnappers, we've had bandits, we've had insurgents. Everything had grown into a full-blown security crisis. And in between that period, we've had former President Goodluck Jonathan. We've had the 8 years of Muhammadu Buhari. Now we have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So when we say we are waiting for the Moses, or we are waiting for the Messiah, the principal responsibility of every government at every level, both the federal, state, and local, is to see to the safety and the welfare of the people. See, you don't owe the people hospitals or good roads. Just fix security first. You always talk about how resilient Nigerians are, and I think that's what the government is taking advantage of. Because they know that Nigerians carry petrol 2,000, they will adjust, give them 2 days. Are we not buying petrol at 1,300 naira? Who is talking? Nobody is talking. Everybody have taken the excuse of the fact that, oh, there's war in Iran and Saudi Arabia. And everybody have moved on. The cost of transportation for me had almost doubled every single day when I go to work. But the salary had not been touched. But you've got to find a way to survive. So when we say we are looking for a Solomon, or a Judas Iscariot, or a Moses, you have the constitution that empowers you to act, to take action. The president does, well, you could have your aides, SSA, special advisor, minister, but you don't even need those people to take a decision. Listen, every single community where this trouble continues, act on them. Service chiefs, Minister of Defense, act on these people. Because there are a lot of underlying factors as well. Sometimes it's over resource control. Why do we still keep having issues in Zamfara? It's because there's gold in Zamfara. Why do we keep having issues in Plateau? Because there are mining and natural resources in Plateau, and there are illegal minings going on in Plateau. Why do we keep having issues in Nasarawa State? Because the natural resources, there are health resources in those places. Why do we keep having issue in Benue? Because they need pastoral. People want to feed their cows, and you want to feed your cows with my own farm. Nibo.
Can you remember when Dele Alake said that there are strong men? You can't remember he made that statement?
Yeah, he did.
He said there are strong men
in charge of mining
in this country. There is a cabal. He said they are too strong for him. He said they have threatened him. Now listen, since that statement was made, Dele Alake was not taken away from that ministry. The man came out publicly and told us the difficulties he was going through. And I'm still trying to wonder why he's still there.
Kept in that ministry.
Because he has, in other words, he says, he's not able to function. Because these people, they have their backing. So he's like, Oga, calm down. Oh.
Relax, oh.
If you want to live.
Relax, oh.
So, and you know, when we discuss these things, some of these things are not funny. They're so annoying, and they could be very disheartening. But the man is still there. This man is wasting in a ministry where he's not functional. Meanwhile, a ministry that needs him, that is crying out, that is carrying its arms up to say, please come. He's not there. Why would we waste such a raw talent? You see, these people know themselves. That is what I'm trying to tell you, Okwemi. They know themselves. They know what they're doing. Any stranger who comes,
they know.
They know. And they tell the stranger, listen, tread carefully.
This is a no-go area.
No-go area.
Look away.
So what are we talking about? Are we deceiving ourselves? Are we deceiving the people? Are we deceiving the government? Who are we deceiving, really? You know, we know these things. And what beats me and what really upsets me the most is that, do our leaders think that all Nigerians are stupid?
No.
Do they think that we don't understand certain things? I mean, the list that we can understand is when we are being cheated, is when we are not secure, is when we don't have good health facilities, when we don't have good education. At least we know all these things. So why doesn't the government just try? And listen, I'm going to speak from both sides of my mouth. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he came out and said he wanted to become the president of Nigeria, he knew that our problems were many. He knew that the challenges were diverse. He knew all of those things. But you see, again, it's one thing to be on the outside looking in. It's another thing to be on the inside. Now he's on the inside. Perhaps sometimes he even gets confused. He's human. But you see, nobody's going to understand. Nobody is going to want to hear that because you said you would do it. That's why they voted you in. Now, whereby you can't do it, because we understand that the president cannot tear himself into a million parts. But you have what they call foot soldiers. Send your foot soldiers to do this thing. This thing is not going right in Borno, in governors of Borno. I am giving you an ultimatum. Please come back to me on it so that whereby you cannot handle it, we will move men in to do it and be serious about it. But you see, as long as it doesn't go near them, and the thing is that it won't go near them. It won't go near, because they have everything they need to prevent such things from coming near them.
I mean, you saw a governor
in an armored
personnel car into a community where 28 people just got killed. You know, if we think the president is overwhelmed, there's a reason why you have list of aides You have
Exactly.
ministers, you have
Yes.
governors,
Oh, they're all
you
foot
have service
soldiers.
chiefs, you
Yes.
have these guys, you have the DSS, you have the NIA, you have everybody. That's because everyone should take a lead from your command. And
Precisely.
that's the fact. Oh, the service chiefs are not working. Change them. We've changed them. The
Exactly.
Minister of Defense is not this one. We've changed him. Since we brought in General Christopher Musa retired, what has changed? Are the abduction in Kwara State, has it stopped? Have the people not been killed in Jos? Have the people not been killed in Zamfara? Have there not been abduction in Kebbi? Have there not been abduction in Katsina? What has changed since when we brought in a new Minister of Defense? The Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawali, is the former governor of one of the most insecure states in Nigeria, Zamfara State. He was a governor that wanted to go for a second term and lost to Dauda Lawal. The same person that couldn't secure his state as a governor is now the Minister of State for Defense. So if you cannot secure your own state of less than 8 million people, how do you function as a Minister of State to defend the entire country?
country.
So there's a whole lot of misfits in certain
Precisely.
responsibilities around the president.
Yes. You know, there's
There are a lot of sink praisers that are telling the president what he wants to hear, not exactly what he should hear. Oh, Mr. President, we're on top of the situation. Which situation? The administration is going to be 3 years next month. Today is April already, 2nd. By 29th
By
of
May.
May, the president will have spent 3 years in office. What has changed? I'm not even talking about the economic situation. Yam is this one, rice is this one. Your principal responsibility as a government is to see to the safety and the welfare of the people. Are Nigerians safer than they were 3 years ago?
No.
Are we richer than we were 3 years ago?
No.
Are we stronger than we were 3 years ago?
No.
So the renewed hope that you brought, what have you renewed in our hope in the last 3 years as a president? You have ministers, one of the largest cabinets we've had since we returned to democracy, almost 45 ministers. What has changed? You have directors, you have special advisors, you have senior special advisors. What did they tell you as Mr. President? You have a national security advisor that is more political than an advisor. The reports the president gets from the service chiefs, what did they tell the president? Every single day, the president said he never misses reading newspapers.
You took the words from my
So
mouth.
when you pick up a copy of a newspaper, is it that what you are seeing in front of Punch is different from what we read from front of Punch today? Is it that there's a special newspaper they give the president to read? Because if you open the pages of a newspaper and then you see, 14 killed in Kaduna wedding, 28 killed in Jos, the same day, does that not tell you to call your NSA and say,
can I have a report on this? Please investigate.
What is going on?
What is going on?
Christopher Musa, come. What is going on here? It's not just meeting service chiefs now. With the meeting with the service chief, what has it changed in the last few years that you've been meeting service chief behind closed door? The president has told the service chief to relocate to this one, relocate to that one. What has changed? Do you know how much you have spent on insecurity in the last 15 years in this country?
And nothing still has changed.
And nothing has changed.
It's even worse.
Do you know how many people have died in kidnappers' den in this country? Do you know how many billions that Nigerians have paid? These days, Nigerians don't even contact police anymore. Pray your family don't get abducted or kidnapped. Nigerians would have to find a way to run it themselves. But unfortunately, where we are now today, we are doing politics now rather than governance. Because the election is very much upon us. By the 26th of this month, the primaries of political parties will start. And that means only one thing. Governance will take a backstage. Politics, full-fledged. And Nigerians will suffer for it. Because there will be a lot of issues that need attention that have been abandoned. Let me tell you something that we are joking with and we don't know how crazy it is. Out of the over 40 ambassadors that have been designated, only 11 have been accepted. And
in the various countries.
Yes, the only person that is representing the image of this country and holding forth why we didn't appoint ambassadors is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tuga, and he has resigned. He wants to contest for governor of Bauchi. So today now we don't have a substantial Minister of Foreign Affairs and we don't have ambassadors. That is why what is happening in South Africa is happening. That is why what is happening to Nigerians in China and Korea is happening.
And you see, the truth is that we've seen people who have performed within his government, and if not even within his government, even within that party. And these people, I'd like to mention, Anabika Dabiri, for example. We have seen that woman, and it's not because she's a journalist, not because but
Nigerian Diaspora Commission is one of the active.
What are you? Don't even say it again. She had, for everything that assignment she's been given, she has performed.
Why
to the best of her ability?
Person to be an ambassador,
or even a minister or something.
Then you want to carry people that
I don't understand what's going on.
You, Ikpe Azu, that could not even develop his state. Jimoh Ibrahim, that is in the Senate, was assigned the permanent seat in the UN as Nigeria's representative. Don't we have young people? Don't you have people within the academia? Can't you go knock on the doors of former professors and HODs, people that understand diplomacy?
Exactly.
What are we doing with what we have?
I don't know.
We politicize every single thing.
And this is not good for us, because we need people who are ready to perform.
So when you sacrifice competence on the altar of political patronage, we are going to be where we are today.
Honestly,
it's unfortunate.
It's quite unfortunate. And I think, so this is just calling on the president, to look at these things, the way the people have reacted, and try to see how, you can make your people happy. Because I think that the first thing that you should be looking at is the people who put you there. They need to be happy, and you shouldn't compensate people, because there have been allegations and counter allegations that in politics this is what happens. You compensate because and at the risk of who and what. I mean, what we're looking for is to hear the name Bola Ahmed Tinubu spoken with pride. When he was our president, he did this, he did that. We cannot forget him. Nelson Mandela didn't have 10 heads.
He didn't even do too much.
He didn't do too much.
He didn't need to do too
But
much.
he left his footprints in the sand of time. That's what we're asking you to do, sir. To leave your footprints in the sand of time, where people will say, he knew what to do. We always say it on this table that you're a master strategist, but sometimes when we look at certain things that you do, they shake.
Somebody says something that if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had not won the election, that they will have said is the best Nigerian president we never had.
That's true. Because when he was a governor, he performed optimally.
To vote for Tinubu, you did not vote for him.
Exactly, just as they were saying about Awolowo. We
have the president.
Yeah, exactly.
What is on the table? We have another story, but we have a small, add up to the story we're talking about. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has postponed his planned visit to Iperu, Ogun State, opting instead to travel to Jos to commiserate with the victims of the recent deadly attacks. I think we've talked about this.
We already talked about this extensively. It's a good thing. For both of us, we agree that it's a good thing. What he wants to do is a good thing. But we were just, hoping and wishing that, he could pay a visit, to the scene,
community.
Yes, to that community. That would even be better. And I believe it will soothe, the minds of Nigerians and the victims and stuff. It would be a good thing for the president to go there, not just to go to the government house to commiserate with the governor of the state, and so that the reporters would carry it and say he was there. No, that's not what we want. We want you, sir, to go to the scene. How that's going to happen may be a bit difficult, but we believe that our president is bold, and we believe that I don't know why, but I believe that he can do it. I believe he can do it, and it will make a whole lot of difference. It will make a whole lot of difference. But yes, I think he should visit that scene. Again, We do not want to set a precedent that we cannot continue.
or sustain.
So if you go to the one, you have to go to the other. You have to,
so that we don't have to sustain that kind of a thing. The reasons should not be happening
at all.
So that we don't say, the president visited Angwarukuba.
Yes,
so God forbid that anything happens.
No, at that point, they will now tell you that it is because the
APC's government is in.
No, the APC national chairman is from Plateau State. That was why he went.
So God forbid that anything happened in Borno today, they'll say you must go to the village, go
well.
Or anything happen, unfortunately, in Benue, you must go to Otukpa. You must go and greet the people in the community.
And
that way to whip up some unnecessary sentiment. But it's okay. I hope that this visit would bring some healing to the people on the plateau. It's a beautiful state, and little wonder they call them the home of peace and tourism. But the states really need peace.
All right, it's time for us to move to our next story, and. Do we have it ready? Okay. Shettima to launch Africa's first university innovation pods at UNILAG. Nigeria is set to take a major step in digital transformation as Vice President Kashim Shettima flags off Africa's first university innovation pods at the University of Lagos on Tuesday, April 7th.
Launching of the Office of the Vice President Generation Unlimited Secretariat to coordinate youth development programs across the country. Vice President Kashim Shettima said the new secretariat would fast-track implementation and strengthen collaboration among government agencies and partners. Represented at the event by Senator Ibrahim Hassan Adeja, the Vice President said one of the benefits establishing the secretariat would be the proper alignment of skills to the demand of community, industry, and society through a transparent process that will be accessible to all.
To embed in the secretariat and make it easier for everybody involved to see what is actually happening, so that we can shape the skill set to meet the demand, because that's a major problem. Some of the programs are well funded, but at the end of the day, you might have a skill set emerging that is either obsolete or not in tune with what is being demanded. I think the dashboard will absolutely help us sort that out. So essentially about data integration. I haven't had a look at it yet, but I know that our initial discussions is meant to be as open as possible. Essentially, it's not specific to anything, just a dashboard that will give you at a glance what the skill landscape looks like, so that you can make informed decisions.
Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, noted that the initiative aligns with the federal government's development programs aimed at boosting local economics nationwide. Also speaking, Minister of State for Education, Shuaiba Ahmad, said the program will guide skills development and support vocational training planning. While the UNICEF representative in Nigeria, Wafa Said Abdulatif, commended the government's commitments, pledging continued technical support for the initiative. Stakeholders, however, stated that the program will help tackle youth unemployment through skills development, improved coordination, and a planned national skills census.
For be it skills, job creation is on all the three tiers of government. So we felt that if we can map the lowest unit of organization sanctioned by our constitutional form, which are the wards, then we can know where the gaps are, where the opportunities are, and this is for both government, private sector, and development partners, because typically what we even see in the ministry, the development partners are offering a lot of support, but sometimes it is even duplicious, and sometimes it's not linked to any verifiable need in the location.
Our primary goal is to move from education for its own sake to education for employment. Therefore, we see the Secretariat as critical industry linkage that bridges the gap between our classrooms and the boardroom. We endorse the genuine seal as a vital quality benchmark. It also allows us to verify the output from our technical and vocational institutions and ensures that it meets the exact standards of the top tier employers represented here today. At the same time, I am directing our technical agencies to prioritize the skill census. We will also integrate our data into the National Skill Observatory, NSO, to ensure our future curriculum planning is driven by real-time market demands. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
The fact that this secretariat is housed at the Office of the Vice President just shows the commitment and the vision of the government of Nigeria and of His Excellency the Vice President and the President of Nigeria for how young people and their opportunities are at the center of the national development. And the Honorable Minister also of Budget and Economic Plan is talking about, we are talking about all young people at all levels, including at the world level.
The federal government says the Youth Secretariat will serve as a central hub to drive sustainable youth empowerment and job creation across Nigeria. Olashade Abdusalami, MITV Plus News.
You're welcome back. Well, that's quite an interesting one. Okpayemi, you can see what's happening. You know, Shatima, a vice president, has launched Africa's first university innovation pod at Unilag yesterday, and it's a major step in digital transformation, as you already know. And I'm looking at where technology is going to take us to in the very near future if we continue at this pace. And listen, Nigeria, for me, I really, really want Nigeria to be at the helm of affairs when it comes to innovation. I want us to become a force to be reckoned with. And what has happened yesterday has gone down in history. And in your opinion, what do you think would be the outcome?
It's a good one.
In the long run.
At the moment, Nigeria has the largest tech hub, our own Silicon Valley in Africa. We have the largest. Nigerian innovators they're making mad moves, putting up crazy apps just to make daily lives easy. Was it last week we were talking about some 45 students that were giving 50 million naira each? So it was under the student venture capital grant.
Yes.
I think there were about 13,000 Nigerian students applied. There were 65 finalists, and out of those 65 finalists, they had like 3 weeks boot camp, where they were pitching their ideas and all of that. Some of them had business running already, but the sweetest part, like 90% of them are from 300 level undergraduate. Above. So I think a lot of credit also needs to go to the Ministry of Education
and the lecturers.
Allows. And a lot of us always feel like when we say Ministry of Education, we're talking about JAM, WAEC, and all of that. There are a lot of things, innovations are going on right there, and I think this is also a good one. I saw one of the beneficiaries of the 50 million. He developed an app for medical emergencies, just like the e-cabs that we have, the Ubers and all of that, but that is strictly for medical emergencies. So rather than for you to be waiting for ambulance, you can actually, if there's an emergency, you can actually order for an ambulance on the app, and it was part of the beneficiaries of DIM. So I think it's basically just saying that our university system, our educational system is moving from what it used to be, the days of at a recycled curriculum. You tell you that when you're in 400 level, the 100 level notes you used, you want to give it to another 100 because it's the same curriculum that you are using. education is changing globally.
It is.
It's a practice that we also cannot afford to stay away from, because the entire continent is looking at Nigeria taking the lead in certain areas. And I always tell people, we may think we're not up there yet. We've got our numerous challenges, but we are so strategically placed on the continent of Africa that so many countries are looking for Nigeria, are looking forward to Nigeria to take the lead. So when they say we are a giant of Africa, it's not exactly because of our numbers. It's not because we're over 200 million people, a number that I'll still continue to question, because it's almost 20 years now that we did our last national census. So we just continue to assume. But a lot of countries on the continent of Africa are waiting for Nigeria to take that lead. How do you move? You know, maybe
in what direction?
Maybe people will forget the meaning of WAEC. It's a regional exam. It's not Nigeria alone. It's West Africa. But hey, Nigeria is always taking charge. So when I saw that stuff yesterday, I said the drive that the minister, see, I'm going to say this on this table. When I heard the rumor that the Minister of Education may be aspiring to govern Lagos State, I wasn't praying against his ambition, but I was hoping it does not work, because he's doing
so well. He's doing so well.
Education.
I agree.
They are bringing in, revolutions. They are changing the curriculum. They are introducing new things into our educational system. And I have a feeling that even university infrastructure will start taking a new shape now. We don't have a situation where we have 600 students cramped in the classroom that's supposed to be for just 45 people, and then people are hanging on the windows, people are sitting on the floors, and you cannot even hear what your lecturer is saying. So when I saw this yesterday, I said, listen, it looks like, we want to really touch our educational system. And the University of Lagos, of course, is the pioneering space. You would always take the up. I was in there about 3 weeks ago, and then when I got to the Atom Banner for hall, I noticed that my phone connected automatically to the Wi-Fi. So all the while I was there, I wasn't using my data.
Wi-Fi.
So there are Wi-Fi zone, Wi-Fi free zones scattered around the university campus. So this would also help innovators. You're just sitting under the tree somewhere, maybe in front of the Senate building, and then you're just walking, and an idea just popped in, and right there, if you go to Yaba, our Silicon Market, you see a lot of young people being innovative, writing apps, developing, daily solution providing, softwares to make our life better. So if the federal government is also thinking along this line, I think it's a beautiful idea. It's the next step, for us to encourage a lot of young people. I noticed that you've always talked about, instead of you to go and do Yahoo, channel your energy into something that is productive.
Something positive, productive.
The world needs solutions to numerous problems. And I've always told people, when they say the world is a global village, it means that you must have something to sell. If you have anything to sell, whether you are in Eswatini or you are in Gabon, if someone needs what you are selling in the US, they'll contact you.
Correct.
You don't even need to go to the US. Right from the parlor where you are developing that thing, somebody is buying it. There are a lot of young boys out there that are making millions every month. What are they doing? They're just developing apps. They develop it and sell it. And those apps are providing daily solutions to problems. And when you have that, the global village is open. If you have anything to sell, bring it. There's somebody somewhere that is waiting to buy whatever it is that you are selling. So if you have the brain to sit behind your system and put on fake pictures and claim to be an army officer fighting in Iran for the US because you want to collect one old woman's money, you can also channel that brain,
exactly,
go into a space, tap into some of the innovations that the federal government is coming up with. See, a lot of us will sit down and blame the government, but there are many things that the government are putting on the table that we are not even keen into. You see a link, apply for the federal government grant, say, I beg, not them, but people are benefiting from those grants. But you rather look for that cheap money and then live your extravagant lifestyle. That's a problem. But as long as the federal government is tilting towards being innovative, encouraging young people, those 45 people that collected 50 million, in the next 2 or 3 years, the ones that are prudent and intelligent amongst them will probably be employing 50, 100, 200 people when they want to expand. And that's employment. You're creating employment. You're giving people a source of life as well. So So I think it's a good one. It's a good one from the federal government on this one. If you know that you are putting this one on the side, make sure that the young people that forms over 60% of the population are also being keyed into this. If you are doing Empower, if you are doing this one, make sure that this grant, I think they said it's about 2.3 billion that they've set aside for this grant. Make sure that if the boys are pitching to you and you are seeing solution-driven, innovations, you key into them, give them money, give them grant, let them expand, let them employ people. And, we don't have to wait for the people that are employing 50,000, 100,000 people. You see those employers of 10, 20, those are the ones that stimulate a fragile economy like Nigeria. So this one, I love it.
I love it. I love it. I love it the way you love it. I probably love it even more. But another thing that I would like, to happen, and I would like your opinion on this as well, is in all of this techie thing that we're doing, developing, moving the world forward, moving ourselves forward as Nigerians, where do we leave the people who are not financially buoyant? Because look, when we talk about Nigeria, we're not saying, oh, Nigeria, certain people are Nigerians and certain people are not Nigerians. All of us make up Nigeria, and it is these people I speak about, and on whose behalf I stand, that actually stand out in the sun and in the rain to vote. Now listen. All the apps and all the advancement and all the technology and all the stuff, all the Ubers of this world and stuff, a certain number of people can afford all these things, but a certain number cannot. They've not been included in this. When is somebody going to come out and say, you know what we're doing is going to be beneficial to all concerned? Everyone who's a Nigerian will be able to benefit from it. I wish and I pray that someday somebody will come up, one of these young ones, one of our youths would come up and say, this app I'm about to make or build
is for the rural dwellers.
Is something that will bring ease to their living,
especially
to their
the elderly ones.
Yes, so that's on the one hand. This one I'm making is for the elderly. This
people
is
living with disabilities.
Exactly. So I think that it should be all inclusive, and these things should be encouraged, so that some people who are not thinking in this line will start to think in this line and start to develop, because it's the same brains that are developing these things, these apps and stuff, that will still do these other apps. But perhaps these thoughts have just not come, and I just hope that the authorities will bring this to their attention, and that we carry everybody along.
I've always said it, that when it comes to policies, Nigerians are not second-class citizens. We have beautiful ideas, beautiful innovations, beautiful policies, but that's why I said that a lot of credit needs to go to the federal government for this innovation. If you have the idea, if there's anything that can make medical commodities to be delivered to the rural areas in time, if you can develop an app in that effect, bring it on board. Elderly people living with disabilities, people that have glaucoma, people that have high blood pressure, people that are not in the city centers, that cannot easily access hospitals or free medical centers. Can we use
who cannot pay for the ambulance?
Exactly. Can we use app to drive outreaches into those communities?
Yes.
So I think there are baby steps. If the government is making this open to the people and say, if you are a young person, rather than go through the corners and do some of those nasty things, if you have ideas, bring it.
Just bring it on. Yeah.
I mean, they kept about, I think there were 65 of these guys in one room for 3 weeks, groomed them, listened to them. They brought in investors. Funny enough, some of the people that didn't even win the, I know of someone, because I read up about this story. The guy didn't win the 45 million, but he got an investor as part of the people he came to pitch to, and the person is committing over 300 million on his innovation. So you have those opportunities. The government just have to continue to provide these platforms, make these monies available, ease the life of these young people, so that in the next few years they can say, oh, it was my app that is delivering medical emergency to the people in Ikole Ekiti that cannot have access to hospital in Ado Ekiti. those communities where they feel neglected, they feel abandoned, they feel like they are not part of government because they're
Exactly.
not seeing the hand of government directly. When young people come up with innovations like this, it could be treatment. For instance, maybe there are communities that are being ravaged by tuberculosis, or they have poor water, treated badly, bad water and all of that. You can come up with these things. Don't
Exactly.
worry. You have a stream in your community, right? But you have issue with water because of the topography. You see that stream, you will not be drinking that dirty water. You'll be
You're going to
fetching
go-
from that stream, we channeling into it somewhere and be treating
some
the water
treatment
for
plant,
you
yes.
to use.
Yes.
So I'm sure that these are steps that we'll continue to take one after the other. But the most important thing is this: I hope we can sustain this that we have started, so that we don't make it a one-off. If there are billions that have been earmarked for this project, let us commit it to the project. Go. Don't let us say, well, give me 1 billion from that money that was given to you. And that's why I say I'm hoping that the Minister of Education and everyone involved in this will stay true to the commitment of providing innovations for Nigerians by Nigerians.
Wow, fantastic. So, what we're saying, in other words, is that we cannot be limited. Let's do these things to improve the living standards for everyone in Nigeria. I can't wait to see the day where people in the Western world, in the developed countries, will start to, queue for visas to come to Nigeria. This dirty December that we have every year. Look at the number of people, the influx into Nigeria. It's unprecedented, unprecedented. And I wish and I pray that we can spread our tentacles such that it is not only for entertainment, you understand, for technology, for all sorts of things. Do you understand? That we can have things happen. So that's what I'm wishing, and that's what I'm hoping, and that's what I'm praying to see in the very near future. Like you said, baby steps. Yes, it's a step at a time. Yes, one step at a time. But once we start to take those steps and
We
our
have to be
feet
consistent.
are solidly on the ground,
change the
then
level.
we change the
We
level.
upgrade.
We upgrade.
Yeah, we update.
Yeah,
We have so many things bigger.
yeah. So I'm just hoping that things work out for Nigeria. And the reason why we sit on this table every morning, it takes us a lot. It takes the management a lot. It takes us as presenters a lot to come to work. But we're doing all of this as our quota to ensure that we're disseminating information, to everyone, and that everyone, has the privilege to be able to know what's going on in Nigeria and the world. And so we're hoping that we're able to make an impact in the lives of people, on a daily basis. And like we said, we will try to update you on certain issues that we discuss, if only
There's a follow-up.
we have some information, on these things so that we can follow up. We'd like to thank you so much. We hope that you actually enjoyed watching the program today. We will be calling it a wrap now, but before we do so, please remember to follow us on all our social media platforms. It is it's at MITV Plus across Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can also watch us live now on YouTube at MITV Plus NG. Please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons. And that's bringing us to the end of our broadcast on the Breakfast Express this morning. Stay tuned to our channel for updates from the APC convention. Thanks so much, so much for watching. I wouldn't leave you without a word. But before I do that, I'd like Okoyemi to say his goodbye.
Yeah, we'll continue to talk when we have reasons to, and I hope that the authority would also listen to whatever it is that we say. My name is Okoyemi Akin. Have a beautiful Thursday and enjoy the rest of your day. God willing, we'll be back here tomorrow. My
name is Tom Aderele, and I always say, take a look at the mirror, look at that person in the mirror, and determine in your mind that you're going to make that person a better person, and by extension, you're going to make the world a better place. Thank you so much for watching the program this morning. We hope to see you again tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow, don't worry. You'll be having your Good Friday, you'll be having your Frinjon. I miss my mom so much, so much, because tomorrow is a Frinjon day, but it is what it is. You know, just have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful time, a good Easter, and we'll see you tomorrow and again on Monday. God bless you.